Hello, book besties, and welcome back for another booktube video. We have a special guest today. This is Graham. Graham, say hello. I'm excited for today's video because today's video, we are going to be doing some SJM controversies here. We're going to come with all the hot takes for ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, Crescent City, and let me tell you, I have a bunch. Let's preface this. This is a safe space for us all to express our own opinions. Doesn't make anything that I say factual. It is literally just my own perception of things. With that being said, though, let's get into it. Before we get into this, though, I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. If you have not read ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, or Crescent City, this video might not be the best one for you to watch because there absolutely will be spoilers. So maybe save it and come back to it if you haven't read them yet. I need the coffee. We're going to start off strong. And I'm going to rank my favorite SJM series top to bottom, I guess. There's obviously only 3, but let's just start with that. I personally, for me, it goes ACOTAR, Crescent City, Throne of Glass. And before you come at me, let me explain myself. Okay, first, let me just explain myself. 1, ACOTAR is always just going to hold my #1 favorite series, period, because it was the romantasy series to remind me how much I love reading, especially reading in a fantasy setting with romantic elements to it. It was the one who brought me back. Nothing has made me feel like that series made me feel. I can listen to the audiobook, I can reread the series, and I feel all of those emotions immediately. It takes me there every single time. Now, with that being said, Crescent City is honestly like equal to ACOTAR to me. Crescent City is one of my all-time favorite freaking series ever. It is also ranked up there in my top 3 favorite series. It is #2, and it's right by ACOTAR. I love Bryce Quinlan. I love the world. The first Crescent City book, in my opinion, is one of the best books I've ever read. The kind of like murder mystery vibes developing with the government, where it feels like you're setting up to overthrow the government, like all these different things. It's crazy. And for that, it is my second favorite. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, you must not like Throne of Glass. I devoured Throne of Glass in 1 month. All 8 books in 1 month. So before y'all come at me, I was just as obsessed reading Throne of Glass. I loved that series so much. I loved the plot. I loved all of the freaking characters. And it had, the reason that it's ranked the lowest has nothing to do. This is like the one thing I always hear on social media, which is kind of annoys me because I'm like, don't tell me the reason why something is not my own favorite. Everybody always wants to say, oh, if you like Throne of Glass, then you like high fantasy. But if you like ACOTAR, then you like romantasy. That's not the case. I love both. I love both romantasy, and I still love high fantasy. For me, the reason that I did not personally enjoy Throne of Glass as much as the other 2 series was because, 1, the writing style. I did not prefer the writing style. I felt like there were a bunch of unnecessary point of views when we did not need those point of views. I felt like I would be in the middle of a conflict where I started really getting into the chapter, and then all of a sudden the chapter would end and we'd jump to a different point of view, but it's not even in that same conflict. It's of somebody else on the other side of the continent. Like, I personally didn't like that. I did not like the writing style. I did not like the jumpy POVs. I felt like a lot of information that I would learn from the other point of views, I could have literally happily learned from Lynn in literally a 1-sentence recap instead of a 30-minute chapter. That's just me. That is the reason that I could not rate Throne of Glass higher. I felt like for me, if it was like 5 to 6 books instead of 8 books, I could have liked it a lot more. Now, with that being said, let's get into the individual hot takes for each of the series, because I know that I'm going to say some stuff and people are going to be like, what the heck? But then I'm also going to say some stuff that people are going to agree with. So this is just going to be a good time. Let's get into that. We're going to start with ACOTAR, because I ranked it number 1, so we're going to start there. And we're going to go over the Tamlin versus Rhysand debate. Is Tamlin really bad, or did SJM just do him dirty? Was Rhysand a red flag in book 1? I don't know. Let's talk about it. First things first. Tamlin. Is he really that bad, or did SJM just do him dirty? Let's make one thing clear. I do think that Tamlin deserves happiness. However, you can think that Tamlin deserves happiness as well as understanding that he was not good to Feyre. And he was, in fact, abusive towards Feyre in ACOMAF. And those feelings are not mutually exclusive. You are allowed to feel both, okay? Tamlin locked Feyre up. He literally, if she did not have wind power, when he threw his little rage fit, she would have had cuts, she would have had bruises. He would have physically harmed her when he threw his little rage fit in the office. You cannot deny those simple things. With that being said, I don't think that makes Tamlin a terrible person. I think that Tamlin does not know how to emotionally regulate. I think Tamlin, as a matter of fact, already had his redemption. After ACO War, I cannot say I hate Tamlin. He ended up fighting for the right side of the war, and he saved Rhysand so that way Feyre could be happy. And not only that, but he also saved her and Azriel and Elaine from when Elaine went to King Hybern. So with those things being said, I think that Tamlin already redeemed himself. I don't necessarily want to see Tamlin end up with another person, at least not yet. Right now, we have Tamlin moping around, playing the little pity party all throughout book 4 and book 5. I don't care. It's annoying. Get out of your beast form. Fae the fuck up and run your court, okay? Yeah, your court was taken down, but now it's time to step back into your role. You redeemed yourself. You did all the right things. So stop moping around, stop crying, and let's do something now. What I would like from Tamlin is to see him, I think like the best thing that could be the best story for me, and I think SJM does it well with her healing journeys, is Tamlin going on a healing journey. I think Tamlin needs to learn how to emotionally regulate. I don't necessarily think it's his fault. He doesn't have parents. It's a lot of learned behavior. But he can't emotionally regulate. It just is what it is. I would love to see him learn how to emotionally regulate. I would love to see him learn how to love himself and learn how to love a woman and her independence. Because you can have and you can possess and you can be obsessed with a female while still building her up and supporting her independence and her own journey. We've seen it with a lot of books where we have these possessive MMCs, and they still support the women. They still put them build them up on a platter. You can protect her and teach her how to fight. You can protect her and let her be independent at the same time. I would love to see that from Tamlin. I think he is perfectly capable. I think that when he does meet his mate, because he will have a mate. Clearly, Feyre was not for him. She had a mate. You cannot come between that. That is a soul bond in the making for years. Okay? But I do think that he will have a mate. For a while, I thought it was Amarantha, but I honestly hope not. That would be tragic. I want him to have a mate, and I want him to be the perfect husband to somebody because I genuinely think he could be. It just wasn't his story with Feyre. And it's not with Elaine. Please stop. Please stop, guys. I do not want to see Tamlin with Elaine. Point blank, period. That is weird to me. Why would Elaine end up with Feyre's abusive ex? He's better now, but he was abusive towards her. I wouldn't go and date my sister's ex, 1. 2, especially if he did some like harmful things to her, whether it was mentally or physically. That's just me. That's just me. Next, was Rhysand a red flag in book 1? Obviously. I'm going to say that again. Obviously. He's my number 1 book boyfriend. Love that man to the day I die. I will die on a hill defending him. He was obviously a red flag in book 1. He broke her arm. I knew as soon as she met him, though, I knew. I was like, that guy is going to be her mate. 100%, I knew it. Because why would she be like, oh, the most beautiful man I ever seen in my life? Okay, well, obviously, you guys have that attraction. They've been talking about mates. You felt it instantly. That's your man. That's your mate. He broke her arm, yes. Okay. He did the little dancing thing where he basically like gave her alcohol so she would forget everything, but his hands never wandered anywhere they shouldn't be. He never forced her. Okay. So he never put his hands where they should not be. The one time he kissed her, yes. But again, to protect her. But was he a red flag? Absolutely. That is what a morally gray character is. Before we try to throw him down, like, if you love morally gray characters, they do things that are not necessarily good. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That is the literal point and definition of a morally gray character. They do things that are great, but they also do things that are bad. I'm personally not going to continue to hold this against Rhysand because then I would not like any of my morally gray book boyfriends. Let's be honest. They all do stuff. Like, Hunt, for example. What did he do in Crescent City? You know what I'm saying? Like, every single one of them have and make choices that are not going to always be agreed with. Rhysand made up for it in the next book. And even hearing his side of the story of everything, you start to understand it more. Everything makes so much more sense. So I don't think that you can hold it against them. Next, we're going to get into the Nesta redemption arc. Was it deserved? Do people hate her too much, or should she have been written differently? One, let's just knock that out the way. I do not think that she should be written differently. I think her story is the perfect buildup for her healing journey in book 5. I think it's absolutely amazing. And I love when an author can truly elicit the emotions out of you to physically hate a character. I hated Nesta all throughout the books until her book. And even during her book, at times, I hated her. I was like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you so mean? Can you please just speak up for a second? Can you do this? Can you do that? Literally so mad. However, I don't think her story should change. I think it was the perfect buildup so that way she could have that trauma healing, that character growth and development. Top tier, wonderful job, SJM. Do I think that people hated her too much during the books? No. I think that's exactly how we were supposed to feel about her during the books. Don't even get me started in book 1 where she would use the coin that Feyre went out and killed the wolves in the stuff for to feed them, and she didn't even want to build a freaking fire. Like, bitch, contribute somehow. You're the oldest sister. She annoyed the shit out of me. But again, that's exactly how we were supposed to feel. So that way we could love her on her journey to growth. So that's how I feel about Nesta. Now, Elaine with Azriel or Elaine with Lucien? I go back and forth on this so much because one, a mate is a mate. And I love Lucien. I love Lucy boy, okay? He is a funny, sassy little side character. When I was reading the first ACOTAR, I thought that this was going to be a love triangle book. I had no idea what it was about. I was so excited for this love triangle, and I was Team Lucien until it was not that at all, and I was like, wait, what? Okay, I guess I'll like the little blonde guy who plays the freaking fiddle. With that being said, though, I have the biggest crush on Azriel. I'm an Azriel girly through and motherfucking through. I love our boy. He is... I just know that man. When we get his book, I know it's gonna be him. It's gonna be him. He's gonna be one of my number 1 book boyfriends so quick. But who do I think Elaine should end up with? Here's the thing. Like, for sure, her and Azriel obviously have a connection. It would be perfect symmetry for each of the sisters to be paired, mated with each of the Bat Boys. The only thing about it is, like they've said so many times, like Elaine does not belong in the Night Court. She doesn't look good in black. She does not belong in the Night Court. She would thrive in the Spring Court or something like it, right? And then you've got Lucian here, who is from the Spring Court, but also the Day Court where his dad rules. So maybe he could end up over there, which would be like similar to the Spring Court kind of vibes because it's daytime and you think flowers, whatever. I genuinely don't know who I want her to end up with. It like kind of just depends on my mood. I do think it would be interesting if she ended up with neither of them and like her whole story was about her independence. But I also would love it if it was a little why choose trope. Like, what if she could have all of the above? What if she could have both of them? I don't know. I'm just ready for the journey. Okay, now we are going to do Throne of Glass hot takes. That's most people's favorite SJM book. So we're going to do Throne of Glass hot takes next. I have a little bit of frustrations. One with the ending of Throne of Glass and just a few other things on the way. So let's just get into it. Okay, so you already know my main Throne of Glass hot take, that it's not my favorite SJM series, and I felt like I did not personally like the writing style. It could have been smaller. But here's the thing. Also, I guess this is another hot take. People who say that Throne of Glass is just high fantasy and not really romantasy, I don't necessarily agree with that because there was romance as a forefront in every single one of the books. Throne of Glass is definitely romantasy. It just started off as a YA romantasy and then built into a NA romantasy. But romance was a major component of every single one of the books. So I don't think that it's not necessarily romantasy. Here's the true hot take, and this is where it's going to get a little... One huge qualm that I have with Throne of Glass, which is another reason it cannot be one of my favorites, is the fact that like something I loved about this series was the buildup of the female empowerment that was all throughout this series. You have so many strong female main characters in this series. You have Manon, you have Aelin, you have Irene, Nehemia, all of these fabulous women, absolutely inspirational women. The entire series is about building them up. Women in power, women as rulers, women stepping into their power, becoming stronger, starting to love themselves with their power. Specifically, Aelin, okay, she had struggled so much with her power to begin with. She didn't want it. She finally steps into her power, owns herself, becomes this confident, badass female main character to lose nearly all of her fucking power. And then on top of that, you're telling me this entire time we built up this entire series with this female main character to lose her power and essentially, obviously she has a little bit, but to essentially lose her power at the end of the fucking book and have to pull power from a man to win the war? She has to pull power from a man to beat the bad guys? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Female empowerment. Female being so strong, but now she needs a man to win. I did not like that. We found out that her and Rowan were like the Karanam, whatever it's pronounced as. I don't know, it's been a while. I was so excited. I'm like, yes, they can pull from each other. They can use each other. I love that. There was a symmetry in it. They are both just as powerful as the other. But now they're not. And he is much more powerful. And she has to use his power to win a war. I did not like that. Why does this strong, independent female have to have a man now? We don't want her to need a man to do anything. We want her to want the man. That's the thing. Like, I don't like how at the end of it, she needed him to win. You know what I mean? Like, I want to use your help. I don't want to use your help because I have to, because I can't do it alone. Which, yes, like, you have to understand that you need help from other people, but like it didn't have to be to that extent, in my opinion. And that is just one of the major things that pissed me off in this book. Not to mention that Dorian got to essentially skate by unscathed. Why? Why? Why couldn't she just allow Dorian to take half of the freaking burden, and instead of her being stripped of essentially all of her power, Dorian could lose some of his power, you can lose some of your power, but you could both still be powerful. No, it has to be that she is this self-sacrificing queen. Why? She doesn't have to be self-sacrificing. What's the point of accepting help and learning to accept help in the end when 10 minutes before she could have accepted help and we wouldn't even be in this situation? But no, she couldn't accept help here, but now she can accept help here because she has to. She has no choice. That pisses me off. That is one reason why it could not be my favorite series, because I personally was not happy with that ending. Dorian could have lost some of his power. Or all of it. Honestly, who cares? Who cares? Yes, we love Dorian. I love what Dorian became after his little healer girlfriend died. Honestly, loved the power he stepped into. Love this little banter he has with Manon. Everything he said to her, about her, I was for it. Thank you. Loved him. Did not think it was fair what happened to Aelin versus Dorian in that series. And not to mention, like, not hating, because I love Irene, but like, we meet Irene for one little short story in Assassin's Blade. And then now she's got Tower of Dawn, which is like a pretty major thing about her, right? Right, that's fine. But you're telling me she gets to come in and be the hero when she came in one book before the end? Now she gets to be the hero? All this fighting that we did with Aelin was for nothing, so Aelin could lose her power and we'll throw her up on the pedestal. That just bothers me. That annoyed me. I did not like that about Throne of Glass, honestly. And I will stand on that. I don't even care about any of the side stuff. I don't care about any of the stupid little, like that. Kingdom of Ash, everybody's like, Kingdom of Ash is the best SJM book. Number one SJM book. Number one Throne of Glass book. I disagree. That one was not. To me, Empire of Storm was. Like, we've got, I will say though, Fenris. That man made me cry. The blinking, when she got taken, at least she had him, like, right? Like, oh, so sad. But I'm not going to go on too much longer about Throne of Glass. That is my main hot take here. I'm so sorry if you don't agree, but that's just how I feel. And that is one of the main other reasons why I personally cannot say that Throne of Glass is one of my favorites, because I don't like the ending. It does not feel like a happy ending to me. It feels like we built up the entirety of the story, made it all about this one thing, to rip that all away, change the entire story premise, line, plot, whatever you want to call it, and say, actually, this is about something else now. And fuck the women. Except for Irene. She's great. Okay. One book. Okay. Whatever. Now, to get into my girl, my bestie, Bryce Quinlan. I love her. I love Crescent City. Love everything about them. Now, this is the hottest take of hottest takes. Bryce's personality. Love her, hate her. Is she just, Aelin 2.0, generic knockoff Aelin? Is she well developed? Blah, blah, blah. I will stand on this forever. Bryce is the best FMC there is that SJM wrote. She is very complex. She's older. Let's get into that too, because she actually, I think a lot of the reasons that people hate her is because of her imperfections, all of this. People like to slut shame her. Guess what? I love a sexually empowered female main character. I love that in the beginning of the book, Bryce just did what she wants, took what she wants, slept with whoever she wants. Who cares? Literally, who freaking cares? Who cares? Let her live. Do what makes you happy, bestie. Her personality, she's funny, she's witty, she's confident, chaotic, she gives hot girl energy. Like, what more could you want? And then a lot of people want to say, and this is the hot take. I loved her in books 1 and 2, but book 3, her glow down is terrible. She's the worst. She was a bitch. She treated Hunt like shit. No, she didn't. For what reasons? Because she stood up for her own autonomy, because she didn't let a man tell her what to do, because she made her own decisions, because she was under so much pressure, because all of this was happening in a span of a week. And she said, Hunt, I can't talk about this with you right now. I don't have time for it. Let's talk about it later. Guess what? Oh, Hunt was going through his trauma. Hunt was this. Hunt was that. Why is everybody so quick to defend male main characters and then tear down female main characters? Everyone loves a morally gray male main character, but the second that the female main character is, we hate it. Sit on that for a second. Think about it. Why? Why are you justifying a man's actions, but you can't get behind a woman for being strong? That's what it's about. That's what it's really about. People don't like women who are too loud, too confident, too this, too that. No, she's not too much. She's perfect, okay? A lot of people love to come at Bryce for book 3, but like, let me just challenge your perspective really quick, because like, why do you not like her? Most people don't like her because for 2 chapters, she was mean to Hunt. Let's break it down really quick. She knows she is the chosen one. She has this starborn power. She clearly, somebody has to take down the Asteri. Somebody has to take down the government. It's corrupt. They're ruining a lot of stuff for a lot of people. She literally was just in Valeris, and while we know it's great, that was a pretty traumatic experience for her. She doesn't know these people. She's in this random place. It's scary, okay? She has no way to contact anyone she knows. It's terrifying. She's finding out all of this information. She knows that she has to essentially lead this rebellion to take down the government. And it's not even a rebellion, it's a revolution at this point. And then you have Hunt, who, yes, has his own trauma, and yes, he deserves the space to feel how he feels, just like she deserves the space to feel how she feels. They both do. And they both are right. Neither one of them is wrong in this situation, because there is no right answer. It's not black and white. And that's how a lot of, I think, fans or not fans of Crescent City treat it, like it's this black and white situation. It's really, truly not. This is tough times. In a span of a week, they have to try to take down this entire government. She has to make all of these decisions. People are looking up to her, expecting her to, essentially, she's the only one who can save the world. And then you have Hunt being like, no, please don't do this. Please don't do this. I did this once and I failed. I don't want to see you get hurt. It's valid. You should, and it's valid to feel that way, but it's not your place to tell her not to do it. You can say how you feel. You can let her know you don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, it is Bryce's choice. And that's the thing. Bryce knew that. Hey, thank you for your opinion, but at the end of the day, I can't do it. But what does he do? Every time, every decision she makes, every step of the way, wants to be against it, wants to tell her, no, don't do it. Oh, this isn't smart. Oh, no, don't do this. Oh, no, do it. Shut up. Shut up. I would feel like that. That's how I would feel. I would be like, please stop. You are the man that I love, and all I need right now is your support, but instead you're just telling me all the different ways that I could fail. No one wants to hear that from the person that they love, and they need their support during this tough time, because nothing's going to change. She has to do this. She doesn't really have a choice. She has to do this. So you're either going to support her, or you're going to just shut your mouth and go along with it, or don't go along with it. I don't care, but I have to do it. Honestly. Just think about it. Next one. Hunt versus Rune. Who is the better book boyfriend? For me, it's Hunt. I'm a Hunt girly through and through. I know y'all think I'm probably not because of that rant that I just went on, but I really am a Hunt girly. I love him. I don't know if it's because he reminds me so much of my own boyfriend, and like, obviously besides like their little tiff that they got in book 3, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like their dynamic in general. Him and Bryce reminds me so much, and this is one of the reasons why I loved Crescent City so much, because one, Bryce, I've never related to a female main character more than I related to her. Her trauma, how she deals with things, her personality, a lot of things about her I relate to, and a lot of things about her relationship. Literally, look, I have a little Sphinx. You did my baby Sphinx. Hi, baby. Huh. her relationship with Hunt, their dynamic, what they do together, it literally reminds me so much of my boyfriend and I. Their texting banter, their working out together, their little funny little jokes, like everything about them just reminded me so much of my own relationship. And Hunt in general reminds me a lot of my boyfriend as well. Like I literally, like my boyfriend is a mix of Hunt and Rhysand. Like, so I am a Hunt girly through and through. Over Rune. Was Rune fun with the little beginning of book 2 with that girl sitting on his face? Like, yes, it was a good time. Personally, I think Hunt is underrated. Maybe I'm biased, but I genuinely think Hunt is such an underrated book boyfriend, and I think that he deserves more love. More love from the SJM fandom. That's what I think. All right, well, that is all for today, but I want to hear your thoughts. Was the SJM universe, is it a mess? Did Crescent City end just terribly? Is Tamlin the villain? Which SJM series is your favorite? Am I absolutely psychotic for my hot takes? Like, what do you guys think? Like, I want to hear all of your hot takes as well. So let me know in the comments. Other than that, thank you so much for coming back for another YouTube video. I'm so excited to hear everything you guys have to say. If you enjoyed watching, even if you did not agree with what I say, Telegram say like, comment, and subscribe to support your friend. And we will see you guys again next week for another BookTube channel. I love you guys. Bye!